Well, today's the beginning of April, so we are expecting a board meeting any moment, being the first Tuesday of April. What are you predicting?
Yeah, no change. The bottom line is no change in rates. They're still of the view that the wages side of the economy hasn't caught up yet, so wages are still quite modest.
Wage increases, you mean?
Wage increases are modest, I should say. Yes, thank you. They're not increasing rapidly yet, so that buys them a little bit of time. However, it's an important however, I think the wording that they'll put out in their statement will be tilting more towards, hey, we know there's an inflation issue. I won't call it a problem, but inflation is elevated, it's rising, and Australia's part of the world economy. It's high in the US, in Europe, in Canada, New Zealand. It's high everywhere. Everybody's experiencing this supply chain things that are going on around the world. And so they'll probably start to flag the probability that in the months after the April board meeting, we're going to have to hike rates.
And generally speaking, it's rare, although I do remember one or two occasions, but it's rare the Reserve Bank does put interest rates up during the election cycle, during that period. I do recall it happening one time, and it was a very unpopular increase.
Yes. That was in 2007 when Peter Costello was treasurer. It was like 2 weeks before polling day. My goodness. And, people sort of look at the 2007 election. Okay, Kevin Rudd was popular. I reckon that rate hike 2 weeks before we all went out and voted was another couple of percent towards Labor and against the Libs. Yep.
Kevin 07. I remember it well.
Yes.
And so we don't expect to see something during the election period, although the money markets are sort of saying potentially something in May, June, potentially.
Yes.
But I think the election probably will be in May.
Probably in the middle of May. Yes, we'll find out soon. Yep.
So if you're a punter sitting there looking at your interest rate and your repayments every month, what do you reckon? More likely than not, there won't. So I'll put it another way. It's highly unlikely there'll be an interest rate rise before the end of the financial year, June.
It's unlikely. Now, again, the RBA are relying on news and information to force their hand, so to speak. And if we get numbers that surprisingly show inflation lower than expected, they'll keep holding off, But we get the March quarter inflation data at the end of this month, the end of April. So that'll feed into the May board meeting. So our conversation next month, we'll have that as an important platform. And then the months after that, which of course will be after the election, that's when we get the next wages data. That's when we get the next unemployment data. And then it'll be at the end of August that we then get the June quarter data. And sorry to be sort of talking about the calendar this way, but it is important.
That's right.
Because I think if the pricing is right in terms of the market sentiment and where this inflation rate's going, while I think they probably could hike early, we're starting from 0.1%, don't forget.
Yeah.
But it will probably be only confirmed that we have inflation above target and well above target June, July, August-ish, without picking an exact month that it's going to happen.